The poem Fricatives by the Hong Kong-born poet Eric Yip has emerged as the winner of the 2021 National Poetry Competition in the UK. Only a first-year undergrad studying at the University of Cambridge, Eric Yip's poem captures the complexity between the history of British colonial rule and Hong Kong's return to China with its intimate yet violent strokes. Poetry is often an instrument of resistance against social injustice. Many racialized poets have laid the foundation for poetic language to fight social and political oppressions, as well as to heal the wounded souls. What is interesting about the poem is that it is not just about the people in Hong Kong. Rather, it is an embodiment of the beauty and ugliness, victories and defeats, and last but not least, diversity and uniqueness of the experiences lived by Hong Kongers. 1842 was the year of the First Opium War. We can trace the cause of the Opium War to the British trading silver for luxury goods like silk and tea leaves from China. To compensate for the deficits, British East India Company began to smuggle opium, an extremely addictive drug, into China. The Chinese emperor ordered a ban on the sale of opium, and the British government responded by taking military action against China. Without modernized weapons and technology, the British Navy had a decisive victory, and China had to sign the very first of many unequal treaties to come. Under British colonial rule, Hong Kong has, on the one hand, flourished and become a metropolitan city and a financial center. On the other hand, Hong Kong slowly drifted away from mainland China, the ancestral land of its roots, language, and culture. The city became a place that floats in the liminal space, the in-between, like the rubber raft from Alcatraz to Angel Island. But we can't quite pinpoint what is drowning in the sea. The poem begins with a stereotypical but important anecdote: the prestige that comes with speaking proper English. What Mrs. Lee failed to understand is that proper English is not simply measured by the proper use of fricatives. Rather, it is associated with the history of colonization, the power dynamic between the colonizer and the colonized, as well as the intersection of gender, race, and class. The speaker acknowledges that by referencing a prison break attempt by 3 men, evoking the violent nature of the history behind speaking English properly. Yet we must still cultivate our garden, even if it takes the violent beating of the fresh yellow grains until the seed spills, even if the dark furrows are stuffed with ancestral bones that haunt our dream, even if it means taking a stranger's cock in the mouth before finally enjoying a spoonful of white, perfect rice. The pleasure of harvesting and eating is juxtaposed with sex and violence, contaminating the pure and innocent image of farming, a common theme found in the Chinese poetic tradition. These unlikely pairing of images are further intensified by the use of enjambment. You will speak of bruised bodies, skinnier than yours. Force the pen past batons and blood. Writing and farming, 2 seemingly harmless rituals, have been associated with images of flesh and blood. The pen is indeed forcing past baton and blood, as the end of the line interrupts the poetic sound of baton and blood, refusing the reader a sense of closure. Bruised bodies, batons and blood, the alliteration of the B sound haunts us because the repetition signifies history repeating itself over and over again. The tone shifted in the second half of the poem. We're offered a privileged perspective in the face of colonialism. The discussion of fricatives as a linguistic feature, the talk of studying abroad, and the graphic description of oral sex exhibits the difficult and unexpected form of attachments and erotic affiliations. It is uncanny but also true that there has always been parallels between sexual encounters and colonization in literature. as the connection between land and bodies are intersecting sites of colonial power. For example, a happy ending refers not only to a comic ending of a story, but also a massage that ends with a handjob. The possession and exploitation of the colonized body mirrors the horror of the colonizer's invasion of the indigenous land. In the poem, the speaker is domesticated by a foreigner at a degraded version of his home, represented by the toilet stall in the dingy Chinese restaurant. The last part of the poem seems like a rather ordinary scene, with an overseas student taking the visiting parents out for a Chinese meal. However, different forms of hidden colonial violence lurk in the background. The speaker has surrendered to the Western culture by eating his food with a spoon and ordering dim sum in English, proper English. The release of students arrested during the umbrella movement in Hong Kong becomes a part of the white noise in the background, while the speaker becomes something like the steamed rice, perfect and white. Finally, I would love to return to the title of the poem, Fricatives. Why did the poet choose this term? A term that floats in the air with its academic prestige and technicality. Perhaps the significance of the word lies in its lack of groundedness, a bitter commentary on the impossibility of decolonial love and intimacy in the face of the never-ending but ever-changing form of colonization. Here are some questions to think about. What does it take to dismantle the superiority associated with the English language in our world? Is it even possible to challenge the hierarchy by using the colonizer's language? Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.